Greetings, Berkeley High School. Just wanted to say that I hope everyone's happy, healthy, safe, and doing well right now. The purpose of this video I created today was kind of twofold. One, to help you get a little bit better picture of what a day at Berkeley High School might look like if you choose in person. And also kind of give you some information to help you make this difficult decision I know you've got ahead of you. So what I'm gonna go over in this is really just masks and social distancing. We're gonna talk about what a typical school day looks like. We're gonna talk about what the hybrid schedule is gonna look like. And I've got a few closing remarks at the end. So I hope this is helpful for you and helps you and your family make the decision that's best for all of you. In my opinion, this is the most important slide I'm gonna talk about. Masks and social distancing. So one thing that you need to understand if you are choosing to go back in person is that masks will be required to be worn all day at Berkeley High School, with the exception of lunch, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Now, along with masks, masks also need to be worn properly, which means over your nose and over your mouth. We are going to strictly be enforcing this because this is the number one way we can keep people safe and reduce transmission, really prevent transmission by doing it. So if students are having some issues with this and they're not properly wearing masks or taking masks off when they shouldn't, simply put, they're going to be asked to go home. Social distancing as well. We're asking all students that they need to do their best to maintain a social distance of 6 feet from their peers when they're in the hallways, when they're at lunch. The classrooms are set up in a way that you are 6 feet apart, and I'll show you a picture of what that looks like later. But in my opinion, if we can do these two things very well and successfully, then I think we're gonna do a good job in ensuring safety for everyone. Now to talk about what a typical school day may look like if you end up choosing in person. So really what's gonna happen is your day is gonna start before you even get to BHS in the morning, because all of us are gonna be downloading an app called Clear2Go. And Clear2Go is gonna be our screening protocol that's gonna ask you a series of questions to make sure it's safe for you to go into school that day. So if you answer those questions and you get a clear, that means you are good to go into school that day. What's nice about the Clear2Go app is it gives us some reporting at the school so we know which students haven't filled it out and that we need to follow up with those students. Also, when you walk into a classroom, you're gonna notice that each classroom is gonna have like a little PPE station in it. So as you enter a classroom, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take a wipe from that big bucket in the picture and you're gonna clean off your workstation. And in the next slide, I've got a picture of what that workstation looks like so we can look at that a little more in depth. Also, we've got hand sanitizer in the rooms, we've got gloves in the room for students who want to use those, and masks in case for whatever reason they're having issues with their mask, we can provide one, but the thought is that most students will be providing their own masks because if they're wearing it that long in the day, they're gonna want something that's comfortable for them. So like I mentioned on the last slide, this is what our typical classroom is going to look like. Obviously, there's going to be some variations due to the science labs or maybe different setups of classrooms, but in general, most classrooms we set up in this way. So as you can see, a lot of the chairs have been cleared over to the side with X's on them so people aren't using them. And then what we've done is we've set them up for a maximum of 15 students so we can still maintain a safe distancing. We're still hoping that the classes are much less than that, and a lot of that will be determined by the data that comes back from folks. But right now we've set up for 15 so we can still maintain a social distance. So you'll notice there's 2 desks next to each other and 1 chair. Reason being because we're still gonna be asking you to bring your laptop, Chromebook, MacBook, whatever that is, into school each day, because your other classmates who are not in person are going to be live streaming into your class and still watching the teacher doing what you're watching them do in person. So you're still going to want to have that laptop there. We're going to have some power cords and things like that in the classroom, so we understand that's a long time to go without a charge. And so you'd want to bring your laptop, headphones, and then any school supplies that you think you may need. It's also worth mentioning that we're still going to be using Schoology, which means your assignments are still going to be in Schoology. So that's another reason why you're going to want your laptop with you in the actual classroom so that you can collaborate with your classmates and also work on your homework if that's what you're doing in class. because we're keeping our first semester daily time schedule, we still got that 15-minute block in the morning between those first 2 hours of the day. So when students are released from that first hour, there is going to be 15 minutes. And just know that you may not always be able to go directly from the class you're in to your next class, because don't forget, your teachers are going to need a minute between classes to get things ready, to just take a little bit of a break before they gear up for another 90-minute block. In that time, you can step out into the courtyard, get some fresh air. I know at that point you'll have been inside for quite a while with your mask on and might feel a little cooped up. So on nice days, I encourage people to step out into the courtyard and get some fresh air. Also, if you want to go to where your next class is and maybe start working on some homework in the hallways or something like that, I'll just ask that you're mindful of yourself and those around you and maintaining that distance of 6 feet at all times. Now, when students do go to lunch, 10th through 12th graders often leave campus for lunch. Now, if you do leave campus for lunch, we are asking that you do the right thing. And what I mean by the right thing is that you go home to your house, you eat lunch, and you return. If you're going to a friend's house and you're getting together with your 10 to 12 closest friends, that defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do here. Same thing goes for local establishments. If you and a group of friends walk over to Taco Bell, that defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do. So we need you to be responsible. We need you to do the right thing. Now, for freshmen that stay in for lunch, you'll see in the pictures that we set up the collaborative center and the cafeteria in a way that there are special barriers dividing the people eating lunch, and also much more limited seating than we usually have. So just make sure that when you are in lunch, that's going to be the time that you take off your mask to eat. We're asking that when you finish, you put your mask right back on, because that's going to be the time when you're most vulnerable, is when you take that mask off. Now, I understand that some freshman parents may not want their students to stay during lunch, and so what I would just ask is that if you choose in person, but you really would not like your student to stay for lunch, if you could just talk to the office and let them know, so that you can pick up your kid each day at lunch and then drop them off before their last hour of the day. So again, lunch is going to be a time where we're going to depend on you to do the right thing, to be responsible, to be safe, because our safety and what we're doing makes all of this work. If we're careless, if we don't do the right thing, that's going to send us right back into where we were, and I don't think that's what people want right now. So I'm asking, I'm begging for all of us to do the right thing during lunchtime. I've had a few parents reach out and kind of ask a little more about what does a hybrid schedule look like. And so this is a little bit of a sample, and I think this is a good thing to look at March, just because it's 5 straight weeks of 5-day weeks. And so I think that's a real clear-cut way to look at it. So based upon the survey results, we're going to have 2 groups of people. So we're going to have the ones that choose virtual all the time, 100% virtual, and then the people that choose in person. Now, of the people that choose in person, because that's going to be too many students in the building at one time, we're going to split those groups into 2 and call one like a blue cohort and a maroon cohort. So if you look at the top there's kind of essentially 3 different cohorts. 2 of them are in person and 1 of them is virtual. Now, if we look at the calendar below, you'll notice that some of the days are blue and some of the days are maroon. And also, we have those A and B days on there. So the A and B days that we've selected already, those are going to stay the same and remain the way they are. So let's pick on March 1st and 2nd just as a sample of what it would look like. So if it was March 1st and March 2nd, so March 1st is an A day, and it's the blue group that's attending in person. So any students that are identified as the blue group, those will be their days to attend Berkeley High in person. On that day, the maroon group and the white group would be streaming into that class from home and staying virtual. On Tuesday, March 2nd, then it's still a blue day, so the blue cohort would come in person, and the maroon and the white would still be streaming virtual. Wednesday, March 3rd is an asynchronous day. And then when we get to Thursday, March 4th, that's a maroon day. So on that day, the maroon in-person people are coming to school. The blue and the white are going to stream in on those days. And then Friday is going to work the same way. So as you can see, if you're in the blue group, you're typically 2 days a week. If you're in the maroon group, you're typically 2 days a week. And then you're streaming in on any day that you're not physically at the building. And so the white group, all 4 of those days each week, you're going to be streaming into the building, and then all of us have the same asynchronous Wednesday. a few final thoughts, and one of them is expectations, and I mean that in two different ways. One is for the students that do choose in person, we're going to have very high expectations of you in terms of the things we're asking you to do for safety of yourself, safety of others, safety of our teachers. We have very high expectations of you, and we're going to expect you to meet those. The second part of expectations is I do want all of us to temper our expectations a little bit. You know, if we think that we're going back to what we used to think as Berkeley High School and a normal school day, that's simply not it. It's going to look a little different. It's going to feel a little different. I think it's going to be good, and I think we're going to feel good about ourselves and what we're doing, but just keep in the back of your mind that things are going to look and feel a little bit different than we're used to. It's going to take a little bit of time for us to get used to things. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to get better at things. It's just going to take some time, all of this. Next, I would just ask that, you know, you and your children sit down and really have a good discussion about what you think is best for them. So, you know, the last thing I really want to do is have parents making a selection when they really haven't talked to their kids a little bit, or kids filling out the survey before their parents have had a chance to. It's really something you need to sit down and talk about as a family and make the decision that makes the most sense for all of you. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take that survey. I need those results by Thursday so that I can start compiling what the cohorts are and tell you which one you'll be in. And then I can give you a calendar that shows exactly which days you're going to attend. If you still have questions after all this, there's still going to be more information coming, but a lot of it's dependent on that survey data before I can get it back to you. But you're more than welcome to reach out to me, call me, email me. I'm happy to walk you through any questions or whatever you need to know. So all in all, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm excited. It's not going to be easy, but I think we can do it. And I can't wait to see some student faces before too long. Go Bears.